Without question, quarterback is the most valuable position in the NFL. Getting a stud at quarterback is just one piece of the pie, but it's a pretty darn big piece of the pie. That's why every year we see teams make big moves, both in free agency and the draft, to acquire a quarterback. That's why quarterbacks get overdrafted year after year. Everyone wants the belle of the ball, and that belle this year is Caleb Williams. From arm talent to ability to improvise, it's impossible to turn on Williams' tape and not get excited for what he can do for an NFL team. He's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. There, I said it. But the good comes with the bad. Some of Caleb's on and off the field antics have led many people to call him a prima donna and question his character. So despite all the talent in the world, you gotta wonder, is he worth all the drama? Is the drama warranted? Is he a victim of bad media? Let's go ahead and take a look. Caleb entered the 2023 season with national championship aspirations and was viewed as the consensus #1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. He had already won the Heisman the year before, and he was the front runner to win it again. His stock couldn't have been higher, but early on in the season it was very clear that he was going to be facing an uphill battle all season. After close games versus Arizona State, Colorado, and Arizona, the Trojans headed into a buzzsaw when they traveled to South Bend. Notre Dame wiped the floor with USC, and Williams had the worst game of his career, throwing 3 interceptions in the first half. USC would lose 4 of the next 5 games, with their only victory being a 1-point win over California. Near the end of the Washington game, Williams was seen crying with his mom in the stands after being eliminated from the Pac-12 championship and playoff contention. And if you think crying like a baby in your mama's arms on the sideline during that loss is bad, you're not going to like what he had to say in the interview after the loss.
What's kind of your emotional state, mentality right now, trying to process this and how the season's going?
I want to go home and cuddle with my dog and watch some shows.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, is that an ideal response you want to hear from a potential franchise quarterback? Probably not, but it's a human one. He just had the lowest moment in his collegiate career, and he came into the season with all the accolades, and now all that was left was one for him and his teammates, the national championship. Are we really going to fault him for caring too much? He tried to carry his team on his shoulders, but he couldn't. USC's defense allowed 41.2 points in those losses, and they allowed 35 points per game during the course of the whole season. By comparison, let's take a look at Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels. LSU's defense allowed 27 points per game the whole season. It was an impossible mountain to climb. And to go back to the puppy thing, who doesn't like snuggling dogs? Right, Gojo? That's a face anybody can love. Now, people don't like the nail painted thing, but it's not like he's wearing a dress. Word? Kinda looks like a Buddhist monk. Regardless, I don't care. I've seen NFL players show up to games in the strangest attire. At the end of the day, all I care about is if he can play ball. And the answer is yes. Yes, he can. So sure, maybe he's a bit dramatic on and off the field. Maybe fans are right. Maybe he's a bit of a diva. Maybe it's fair to have some questions about his character. Which leads me to something that hasn't been tried by an NFL prospect in 20 years.
I didn't want to go to one place. I won't say the place, and I don't want to bring up old stories, but there was one place I didn't want to go to, and that was it.
The Chicago Bears hold the first overall pick. But does Caleb Williams even want to play for the Bears?
They got a good defense. They got good players on offense, and you know, it's pretty exciting. You know, if you could go into a situation like that.
So he would play for the Bears. Wait. So where did this narrative come from that he didn't want to play for Chicago? Well, in February last year, Caleb Williams told People magazine that his top destination to play for would be the Miami Dolphins. Fins up, baby, fins up. He also followed that up with San Francisco, Atlanta, and Las Vegas. But also in the same article, he said he would play for anywhere. So where are we getting this he doesn't want to play for Chicago? Well, Broshmo, he liked to tweet. Are they even called tweets anymore? Whatever the hell they're called. Caleb Williams liked a post that suggested that the Bears should draft Marvin Harrison Jr. instead of him. So that proves it. Ha! I guess. I mean, I think we're just trying to read between the lines a little too much here. I mean, if there was some concrete proof, then maybe, just maybe. Oh, there is?
I've been told there are places that Caleb Williams in the NFL is very concerned about. And they are organizations that have a lousy history of developing quarterbacks and protecting quarterbacks. You can figure out who they are. Chicago.
There we go. Some real proof. Oh, what's this? Caleb Williams camp denies it. Get this out of here. Of course they would deny it. Colin Cowherd backtracks. Freaking Colin Cowherd. Colin! So it seems Caleb Williams at the very least is okay with going to Chicago, and seemingly the Bears will use the first overall pick on Caleb. But a grip of Bears fans adamantly don't want Caleb Williams. And if I were a Bears fan, I'd be worried too, because this next thing might be the craziest request I've seen from an NFL rookie. Back in July, it was reported by Mike Florio that Caleb Williams, along with Aaron Rodgers, were, and I quote, jostling for equity in their team. And a source from Caleb Williams' camp told The Athletic this week that, in fact, that it was a topic discussed with agents. Some people may think that guys like Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes have a claim to make for such a request since they're proven superstars in the NFL, and Caleb doesn't because he hasn't even taken his first snap in the NFL. But I honestly think it was okay for Williams to at least inquire about the possibility. He's one of the top prospects in the 2024 class and seemingly the first overall pick. So there's some leverage to be had there when it comes to his contract demands. So why not try to get the best offer that you can? As Michael Jordan once said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So why not at least ask? But this whole thing is just a non-factor because 24 hours after the Williams and Rodgers story was published, the NFL passed a new rule that said, and I quote, the NFL prohibits non-family employees from taking equity in the team. The Caleb story only resurfaced after the loss to Notre Dame to rile up fans. It's not possible for Caleb Williams to get equity in the team that drafts him. So why are we even talking about it? But hold on to your seats, because we ain't through, because then Caleb did something never done by a prospect at the NFL scouting combine. Caleb accepted his invitation, but he did not sign off on having his medical records shared with all 32 teams, which has never been done before. On top of that, with not throwing at the combine, this just kind of rubbed everyone the wrong way. However, I think it's kind of a clever approach. He will throw at his pro day, and honestly, I'm surprised that many top prospects just don't perform at their pro day. You get a home field advantage, and you get to participate with your former teammates. It puts everything into your favor. It's just a favorable circumstance. I'm just surprised that not many top prospects choose to do that. But when it comes to his medical records, Caleb is assuring that only teams that are interested in him have access to that information, meaning teams that aren't interested or don't believe they'll be in position to draft him can't throw bogus information out there into the nebulous to hurt his stock. Say that a source from the Chiefs, who have Patrick Mahomes and no business in being interested in Caleb Williams, let's say that they said something like this.
Well, something came up in his medicals that raised some red flags for us.
You would hear that, look at the source, and immediately know that it's fraudulent because the Chiefs won't have access to that information. It's actually pretty smart by Caleb and his camp, as we know the NFL offseason's filled with rumors, and I mean, it's smoke and mirror season, baby. At the end of the day, Caleb Williams isn't toxic. It's the conversation around him. Conversations had by you and me and the media. The talent is unquestioned when it comes to Caleb Williams. That's why the conversation shifts and revolves around his character. So what about his character? Brett Coleman, who is one of the best football guys on YouTube, check him out. I'll leave a link in the description. He lives in LA and he has spoken to players, coaches, and people around the USC program about Caleb Williams, and this is what they had to say about him.
I have never heard anybody say a bad word about Caleb Williams. As a leader, as a person, obviously as a player, they all love him there. They would go to war for that dude. They say he's an incredibly hard worker, he's smart, he has the true makeup of a franchise quarterback in the NFL.
Who wouldn't want that type of player in the organization? And on top of that, he used his NIL money to create the Caleb Cares Foundation, which dedicates resources to causes like anti-bullying, mental health awareness, and youth development. I'll leave a link in the description below. Also, a few months ago, I made a YouTube short about Caleb Williams reaching out to two young Utah fans who just recently lost their father back in 2022. 12-year-old Jonah and 15-year-old Jax would regularly attend Utah Utes games with their father Dave. However, they would unexpectedly lose their father on September 2nd. Caleb Williams heard about these two young men and he stepped in. He paid for their seats in the Utah section so that they could root on the Utes like they have many times before. USC would go on to lose by 1 point, possibly costing the Trojans the Pac-12 and a spot in the college football playoff. And it would have been easy after a crushing loss to wallow in defeat, but instead Caleb sought out these kids. They did not ask to meet Caleb, but Caleb wanted to meet them, and he did so with a smile on his face. And this wasn't a publicity stunt. It wasn't made public by Caleb, nor was it made public by his camp, but by a friend of the family who was just so wowed by the gesture. Let's not overthink this. Caleb Williams is a great guy with insane talent. And don't take the hate out there at face value, and please always do your due diligence. Don't just regurgitate talking points with no actual substance behind them. Don't be a douche. And hey, we all love the draft here. And if you want draft content, I got some videos down there you could go ahead and check out. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.